Welcome to Football Pass. I'm joined today by two men who know a thing or two about Scottish football. Former Rangers and Motherwell manager Alex McLeish and former Rangers captain David Weir. David, a 1-1 draw for Rangers today at Fir Park. What was your reaction to the result and the performances from both sides?
I don't think it was Rangers' best performance. I think that's clear to see when you watch the game, but the position Rangers are in, coming back from a goal down, it's always a difficult place to go. As Alex will testament that, they never make it easy when you go there, and it's always a tough game, and that was the case today. Motherwell made it difficult. They got the first goal, which is always really important. So Rangers obviously dominated possession and without creating too many chances, but a draw is probably not a bad result in terms of where they are in the league at present and the gap they've got. So you could just tell that wee bit of intensity was lacking because the players are aware of the situation and they're aware of that gap.
And obviously, from a managerial perspective, Alex, what would you be saying to the squad in the dressing room? A draw isn't what Steven Gerrard would want, but the club are still 21 points clear of Celtic in this league title race as it stands.
Yeah, I would think Stevie probably a little bit disappointed that they didn't capitalise on the Celtic slip-up yesterday. Let's face it, you would expect Celtic to take 3 points from that fixture. Credit to Livy. But, to go into today and possibly with a mindset that, guys, we've got, whether they ended up a bit uptight, I don't know. But I know that a lot of the crossing into the box was hitting the first man. When you see what happened with Itton's actual goal, then the ball was stood up a bit more. He's a big lad, and so there was maybe a wee bit of uptightness about the squad. Whereas you would, if I'm Stevie, and I'm thinking back to my own managerial days in there, saying, guys, we've got to win this, but without being uptight, in a kind of nice way. I know that I looked uptight there, so but I'd be trying to deliver it to them in a way where it's almost, it's not cup final proportions, but it's a great opportunity to go further ahead and just put Celtic out of sight for if you're from a Rangers point of view.
I mentioned in the question there that the club are 21 points clear at the top of the league. Is it a matter of when Rangers win the league rather than if? Is the race as good as over now?
It's not over. I mean, obviously, if you're looking from the outside in, you'll say Rangers are in a great position, but there's still a bit of work to do. There's still a lot of games to go. I think we're just over halfway throughout the season, so it's there is a good period of the season to go. But Rangers are in a great position. It's Celtic got 3 games in hand, so what is it, 12 points? It's four games Rangers have got to lose. They haven't lost any all season, so you'd have to think, the ball's in Rangers' court and it's there to lose. And the way they're going, even today when they're maybe not at their best, they're still getting results. So 4 defeats looks a long way away for me.
And just on that, Davey, you battled with Steven Gerrard when you were on Merseyside on the blue half and he was on the red half. How impressed have you been with the job he's done this season?
He's done really, really well. You can't argue in terms of the results first and foremost, and then also the way he's managed the club and in really difficult circumstances. It's a massive season for Rangers in terms of getting a trophy, winning the league. Everybody knows what's at stake, and I think he's kept the pressure on Celtic, and he's obviously learned from his last couple of seasons. The club have been patient in terms of letting him build a team and letting him build an environment, and I think Rangers are getting the benefit of that now. They're getting the benefit of the longevity and him learning about the club and and putting a squad together that is his. And you can see the way they play. They're well coached, they're well drilled, they've got a nice balance between attacking and defending, and you've got to give the manager and his staff great credit for that, because it's a really good outfit, both domestically and in European football.
You've mentioned the impact of Steven Gerrard as the manager. Alex, from your perspective, when you're managing a club the size of Rangers, how important is it to have a strong background staff? I know Steven's got Gary McAllister with him, Michael Beale. How important is it to work as a collective, especially when you're in a title race like this?
Yeah, absolutely fundamental that you get your staff right. You know, like Ferguson once told me, when I first started in management, can you take all your own staff with you? Take the guys with you you trust, you revere, you look up to as coaches and all the other guys, like even your doctor, things like that. Physiotherapist. So it's important that you've got the trust in not only the players but also your backroom staff. And as David said, Stevie's done this over a period of years now. He's built this side. The last couple of seasons, they were in pretty good positions, but for one reason or another, they didn't quite get it together. Now, I think the recruitment has been vital this season in terms of the strikers coming in. You see, for weeks I've been saying, I'm sure that Big Itten will come up with something one of these days. And sure enough, if he finds his legs a wee bit more, he gets a ball that suits him into the box and he scores the goal. So there's more to come from him as well. Not fully seen the best of him, but we certainly have seen the best of the other recruits, which has, I think, been a significant difference of importance this season.
From a captain's perspective, David, I'm interested to ask you whether you would be keeping an eye on what's going on over in the other side of Glasgow. Celtic, of course, been dropping points. Is that a situation you would take any interest in as the Rangers captain, or would you be solely focused on what you can do?
You do, of course. You focus on your own team first, and you focus on what's going on in your dressing room and the things you can affect there. You can't really affect the opposition, but I think you'd be lying if you're not watching the games and you're hoping they don't get the result, or you're hoping they drop points, or you're hoping they're having a tough game. I think that goes with the territory. And the way it invariably is in Glasgow, usually somebody will play. Very rarely do the teams play at the same time. So there'll either be a boost going into the game, or there'll be a kick in the teeth going into the game, and it's how you react to that. And Rangers would get a boost with Celtic dropping points yesterday, and then they go into the game, and then it can work. I think most of this season Rangers have played first and managed to get results and put the pressure on Celtic, and I think that's always a good thing to do, to get your game in first, get your points on the board, and Rangers have done that by having 3 games in hand and got the points on the board, so that gap looks massive. So you do look, undoubtedly you do look. You'd be lying if you said you don't, but the biggest thing you can affect is yourself and your dressing room and your team, so that's always the focus.
And just as a follow-up to that, with you on the training ground on a daily basis, how would you ensure that there was no hint of complacency from you or any of your teammates?
Fundamentally, that's the manager's job to create an environment where everybody's working and everybody's committed to the cause, and then the players, take that lead from the manager in terms of training properly every day, how they behave on the pitch, off the pitch, away from the training ground as well is really important. And I think Rangers, in terms of the COVID situation and how they've handled that, on the whole, has been pretty good, and I think that's a representation of how they are as a club and how they are as an environment at the minute, and the culture that they've got within that. And I think it's just a constant thing, picking up on the little bits and dealing with them before they come big things. So I'm sure they've got a group of senior players in there, Alan McGregor, Steve Davis, who've been over the course and distance before, who'll help the James Taverniers and the Connor Golsons, the more senior ones within the squad as well, just to police that and to make sure they're doing all the right things consistently.